Hello everybody and welcome. I am Izzy, a part of About Panda Productions, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make hair wefts for wigs and or for hair extensions. Yay! Okay, so let's begin with what you'll need. You will need a nice sewing machine, the proper color thread. Seeing as my project is going to be sky blue, I've picked a sky blue thread. You will also need pink yarn braid hair. You can get it at your local beauty supply store, either Sally's and or Beauty Supply Warehouse or whatever's local to you, or try online. You will next need a pair of needle nose tweezers, really good quality, fantastic. A very good measuring tape and or ruler to measure the length of your weft. Good pair of scissors for cutting, of course. Some lovely amount of paper. Use thin cheap paper, like tissue paper, and or I'm using lined. I got it at the 99-cent store, but it helps rip away very easy. You'll learn that in a few. And a really nice carbon-based comb, or a comb that has really good teeth that don't have much give. Also, you will need a shish kebab skewer, and either, depending on if you're going to be making these wefts for hair extensions and or for a wig, I'm doing mine for a wig, so I'm using Fabric Fusion. You can get it anywhere, at any craft store, or even at Walmart. If you're going to be making the weft for a clip-in extension or glue-in, buy hair bonding glue from Sally's and or any other beauty supply place. It comes in other colors, but I'm using white. Alright, so let's begin. You will be taking your hair and you will be measuring it. I'm not measuring mine because I'm going to need the whole length of this. So during this time you would measure yours out. Also give yourself an extra 2 to 3 inches as to when you sew it. You fold it over and it helps give your weft substance. Now that you've measured everything out and everything's all fantastic and you're ready to go and you've cut your hair, take about... It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a whole lot, it doesn't have to be really thin. The braid hair is kind of poofy, so like about that much should do you for a weft. Don't worry if it doesn't extend to the whole length of the paper when you finally get to that portion, because it's okay, because wefts come in different shapes and sizes and it's all fantastic. So take an end. Make sure it looks good and even. Mine's pretty good and clean, so I don't have to worry about combing it. If you're concerned about any flyaways or anything of that nature, feel free to just trim them off. It's not going to hurt anything. It's perfectly fine. Now, next we're going to sew. Here comes the fun part. You're going to want to take your slice of paper that you have and put it in your sewing machine. Center it as much as humanly possible. Put your foot down. Take your braid hair and set it along like possible. A good 2 or 3 inches should do you. During this process, seeing as I've done this a while, I'm going to probably go at it pretty fast, I don't know. But seeing as you're new and not really experienced with it yet, I'd go slow to make sure you know how your sewing machine's going to react to the paper and the hair. Also have your settings on tiny stitches and your tension set to at least the 7 or a looser type of tension setting as well. So, let's begin. As you start sewing, make sure your hair grips onto the underneath the foot. After you get a little bit done, start pulling the hair out a little bit. Not harsh, otherwise you might screw up your sewing machine. But as you go through, just keep kind of lightly pulling it so you can get a nice even length of wefting done. And don't worry about the spaces because they'll end up being hidden because you're obviously going to be making a bunch of wefts. Right, so now you've created your first stitch. Your braid hair should now look like this, or something similar to. Now what you're going to do is take your weft and fold it on the the stitch line that you have just created and make sure that it's a good, nice, even fold on there. And the whole entire stitch should be facing now upward that way. So your stitch is here. And you're going to be feeding it back through the sewing machine 3 more times. This next stitch should be as close as possible to this top stitch. If it's not, don't worry about it. That's what these tweezers are going to be for here in a minute. So you're going to place this down. Okay, that turned out good. Also, when you cut the ends off, make sure you have a little bit of string left over. I find when it comes to the gluing portion of this, it makes it a lot easier to just roll some around and set it on a piece of paper, which you'll see here momentarily. Time for the 3rd row. Alrighty, so by the time you're done with your process of doing this is what it should look like. Next, you're going to want to take and tear the paper away slowly as to not ruin the thread. The tweezers will help you get the little seams in here, which are kind of a pain in the butt. I have one that's already kind of pre-assembled to show you. There's still a couple little hair particles left in this one because I'm going to be staining it, and in another tutorial I'll be teaching you how to stain and do that, so this doesn't matter. But for the gluing portion, you will need another sheet of paper and your glue and your little stick. And the side that has the shortest hair, face it up towards you. And then just take your fabric fusion glue or your hair glue, whatever glue you decide to use. Just dab a little bit on a good nice clear line as followed. And to push it in, then you use the stick and you just go about it like so. Make sure you have a space provided for you that you can let your hair dry. Before even using it, I'd follow the instructions on the fabric fusion glue and letting it dry a whole 24 hours before doing anything else. When all is said and done, I know this is a dyed piece and it's a completely different color, but your weft should look like this. All nice and fancy and good to go and ready to turn into whatever you want to turn it into. I hope this tutorial was helpful. I'm Izzy. Have a good night.